One. Hey, hello, and welcome to my First Million Dot Live podcast, a channel where we talk to inspiring entrepreneurs from all over the world and learn from them secrets on how they have built what they have built. Now, outside of this YouTube channel, there is my First Million Telegram channel as well, where I share a lot of valuable tips on building side hustles, investment tips, hacks that I can't share on Twitter. It's meant to be a private group, and we meet once in a while, once in a month, most likely for a live conversation as well. So do join there if you think this stuff is useful. It's bit.ly slash Zen compounding. It shows on your screen right now. Yeah, it's bit.ly / Zen compounding. It's a private group, as I said, meant for intimate interaction on stuff that I just shared now. And the link is also in the description below. Also, some cool guests coming in the future. We have Arvid Kahl as my next guest. Arvid has written this phenomenal book called Entrepreneur, and I'm very pumped to talk to him next. So do hit subscribe so that you know when I have my next cool guest around. All right, with that, today I'm thrilled to have with me Sharath Kuruganty, who calls himself the social proof guy, and is very popular on Twitter as well. He's the co-founder of this very interesting startup, Shoutout, which captured my attention a few months ago, and since then I wanted to grab Sharath and talk and understand what Shoutout is. He's also the community manager, programs manager at Product Hunt, which is quite a phenomenal achievement, I must say. Product Hunt is a catch, and not everybody gets such a opportunity to work there. So I have a conversation around that topic as well. And yeah, this is what I could gather from his limited state on Twitter bio. I'm sure he's into a lot of other things. And this will be a freewheeling conversation about many things, but I'm interested in the story behind building Shoutout, which I'm guessing is a result of a side project. So we talk about the power of side projects as well. I will also ask him about a few trends in the future that he sees in community building startups, no code, etc. So with that, let's welcome Sharath. Hi, Sharath. Welcome to my First Million Dot Live. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me, Ravi. Super happy to talk to you and the listeners here and share my experiences as we talk. So yeah, excited to be here.
Excellent. The privilege is mine, Sharath. So, Sharath, before we get into the meatier stuff, I'm very keen to know about your background. And while you share about your background, I would like you to highlight on key influences in your life at different stages that shaped you to become who you are today. You are a maker, so to say, but what went into to make you who you are today?
Yeah, for sure. So I've always been a product person all through my career. I either worked as a product manager or a product owner at Fortune 500 companies. But I always wanted to build stuff for myself and just put it out in the world. And uh, the last 3 years were phenomenal and transformational because I found like amazing no-code tools, and more importantly, I think two important people made a significant impact on me. One is James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, and Naval Ravikant, who actually uh, you know changed the whole game, like the way I think and work and act, and like treat people, like treat myself and everything. So yeah, I think the first thing I want to talk about James Clear for writing for Atomic Habits. I read that book I think 3 times now, and the first time I read that book, and it really hit me deeply because I never saw habits as a segue to fulfill my dreams. I saw always like habits are like this things I do on a daily basis, but I never connected them and to play a long-term game. So after reading the book, he always says, and obviously in the book and even outside, try to become 1% better.
Mm.
And that really struck a chord with me, and I started uh, taking that very seriously and implementing it. So consumed it and started like executing it, and that's one of the reasons I started uh, building projects, side projects, especially. Even I have like all my career, even till today, I have like a full-time job, and all of these projects are my side hustle. I just I'm very passionate about building things. So, and when he said start small and focus on reps and try to become better and be consistent, those are all the key points I took uh, from him. And from Naval, I don't know where to start, because he's a very big influence on me, on wide variety of things, be it like leverage, be it compound interest, be it like specific knowledge, converting that into value for others, and uh, how to be very specific in your area and be prolific at it, uh, by taking action and helping others. So, and yeah, I think Naval is like pretty big influence on me. And yeah, so I've started like building stuff. So far I've built like what, 12 plus side projects. And my recent side project was it's called Shoutout.so. I do have like a full-time job. I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to work at Product Hunt, which is my dream company. And yeah, so that's me.
So Product Hunt is your full-time job, right?
Yep.
So before we talk about Shoutout, why don't we start about how did the opportunity with the Product Hunt come along?
Yeah, so I actually wrote a thread about like the whole story. For people who are curious, it's actually a pinned tweet on my profile, so go check it out. But in short, Product Hunt is why I am a maker, because I get very inspired by all other people who ship their projects every single day, and it motivates me even till today. Like there is so much abundance, and there is so much we can do in the world, right? Like by building these simple ideas, bringing them to life, and putting it out, and helping others win or accomplish in their goals and whatnot. So yeah, 3 years ago, like I said, right, I one of the things I challenged myself is, can I build and ship a project on Product Hunt in less than a month, sorry. And that challenge, I fulfilled it, thanks to no code, thanks to like the small habits I formed, and thanks to majorly the community. So Parton and I have like a huge history. If you see the last 3 years of my personal journey as well. And when I was actually looking for opportunity, a switch of jobs this year, 2 months ago, and I saw Parton hiring a role for community, and I before that I actually got awarded as Maker Grant recipient for February. So I started like talking about this, just this new role, and they know me very well, because I was actually nominated as a community member of the year for 2019, and I got a bunch of awards in their Maker Festival and whatnot. So
So in
it
Product Hunt, could you elaborate a bit? So what is the Maker Festival all about? And so you said Maker Grant recipient. What is it?
So Product Hunt honors three makers every month
Mhm.
for being very active as part of the community, for building these projects, and it's sort of like a helping hand for them, and more like bringing some shedding some light on them about their work, and and just like them. So uh, I was actually one of the recipients for February. So each month we do like three makers, three founders, and we pick them and honor them with this award. So I was one of them. And Maker Festival is sort of like we come up with a theme, and put it out, and people, it's sort of like a hackathon but in public. So people can submit their projects, and there'll be like a community angle to it. There is a distribution angle to it. People can see these news projects. Apart from launching on Product Hunt, this is like a specific channel for audience to discover your project. So but yeah, those are some of the things I did. So there's so much history between me and Product Hunt in the community. So, and I was very active. I'm very active, in terms of community angle from Product Hunt. So yeah, we started talking, and and there's a fit for both of us, and it happened. And I'm so grateful for Emily, who's our VP of Operations, and Ashley, who's our GM, and Ryan Hoover, the founder, and Josh Buckley, the CEO. All four of them, played a huge role, while I'm getting into Product Hunt. So super grateful for
Nice.
them.
So they knew you with your contribution already, and your application just sealed it, isn't it? I mean, so or did you have to compete with other more worthy applicants,
Uh,
or did it have like happen like a conversation and hey, you're already in, we know you and stuff like that?
I would assume that. I mean, I don't know a specific answer for that, because this particular role is, I think, they designed, and they're looking for someone like me who come from a maker background. So they had the role in mind, and I popped in. So it was, I think, sort of like a perfect match.
Excellent.
And yeah, and I'm just like super grateful.
Got it. So Sharath, I'm curious to know, where you technical PM all through, or how do you pick your technical chops? Where you're coder, so to say. Could you elaborate on that side of things?
No, I'm not a developer or an engineer. I'm more a product person who has more specific knowledge about design, user experience, uh, and as such. So definitely not a coder. Even though I went to school under, like, having a CS degree, I never enjoyed, like, that's not my forte. So I'm more, I have this ability to, like, see through user flows, how things work internally within a product, make it frictionless experience for the users and whatnot. So yeah, I'm definitely not like a developer.
So when you contributed projects on Product Hunt before, how did you build those projects? Or what were those projects? Were they apps, and how did you build them if you did not have a coding background?
So, like I said, right, I found these tools called no-code tools. Like, basically, these tools will help you build an idea, take an idea from 0 to 1,
Right.
without you writing a single line of code.
Right.
So treat it more of like building MVPs quickly without relying on anyone. Like, you don't have to find a technical co-founder or developer to assist
Right.
you to bring this idea to life. So tools like Bubble.io, Webflow, Glide apps for mobile. There are like so many things. Like for landing pages, you have Card.co,
Right.
Pori.io. I mean, Airtable as a backend. So there are like these versatile tools you can use, and there is very little much learning curve
Right.
when it comes to learning code. When you compare learning a no-code tool versus learning how to code,
Right.
there is very little much uh, learning curve in these no-code tools, and there is so much output. You basically can literally generate web apps. You can build complex functional tools
Right.
and put it out. So those are, I mean, I've shipped like many projects using these tools, and over time it became like second nature. So for Shoutout, I did build like the whole MVP on Bubble.io. So and quickly put it out, like tested with a bunch of friends, sort of like our early believers. They tested it, They validated the idea. They said they wanted more from the platform. So that's the sign I wanted to go find my technical co-founder. And yeah, that's what it happened. And everybody who's listening, if you have no technical skills, you
Right.
don't have to worry about it. So we live in a world where you can build things irrespective of skills. So
Now this is fascinating because it comes from a person who has actually built stuff, being a non-coder himself. So it gives a lot of confidence to people who are not non-coders. I have dabbled with Bubble, and I felt still a learning curve there. Okay, it at a point of time it became overwhelming. So I just want to know, because there are complex applications, there are simple applications. So how was your learning curve? How many hours of uh, time did you give to make yourself comfortable with Bubble?
specifically, Bubble is little complex. So I took what I think 2 weeks, if I'm not wrong, 2 or 3 weeks. And again, it's not something you learn uh, by consuming these tutorials online. So one of the advice I can give to people
Right.
is start building things inside the tool. So in that way, so I build this idea called hottakes.app. It never got released outside. It was my first ever Bubble app. The idea is to generate like people's hot take, and people can vote on which one they agree and they don't.
Mhm.
It was built on Bubble. So that was my uh, that was when I was testing the tool itself. So you have to build ideas which are throwaway ideas. So don't take it too seriously. That's why you have to put it into reps and learn the ins and outs, and more importantly, like talk to the community. So whoever built some apps before, they're always there to help you. So, and obviously once you learn something, you are always willing to help others. So it's sort of like this passing baton thing where again, my point is, you don't get to learn everything at once. You get to learn in
Yeah.
chunks, and
Yeah.
you get more of the learnings by doing things, basically
Right.
by shipping things. So I would highly suggest, like, don't take like a 10-hour Bubble course and say, hey, I need more time. So that's not how it works. You just like, if you consume like 5 to 10 minutes of content of how to basically build a workflow in Bubble, how to use data in Bubble, and how to build a simple login page, stop there and actually do it. So just stop right there and build that and ship it out. So that's how it's an incremental process. It's not like something you do it like overnight.
Got it. So Sharath, a quick question here. If while somebody is dabbling with Bubble and trying to learn, are there communities where if they could they get help, or they have to Google and learn and try
No,
to?
there are so many no code communities. We have ODNC is it's an OnDeck Fellowship for no code folks. That's a very amazing community. That those are like all bunch of givers who helps you. And no code devs is another community, so that's there. And MakerPad is another community. So there are so many communities.
So are these free communities or paid communities like OnDeck
There
Fellowship?
are OnDeck is not a free community. That's a paid community, but it's 100% worth it. I was actually one of the founding fellows at OnDeck, um,
Ah,
and
could you?
it's totally worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's conclude this conversation, and then I would also want to know a bit about OnDeck as well, and
Mhm.
then how the idea of Shoutout also came into picture. So I got it. So if somebody wants to start, like if they're inspired by this conversation, they would go to bubble.io, I suppose, right? And then they would
Yeah.
spend some time, a week or two, and start with very simple projects so that they build confidence gradually, and then they go on to build.
Right.
I mean, they could increase the complexity. But what kind of, see, the thing is, I was looking at this early this week, actually on Sunday, last Sunday. I'm a subscriber to the Hustle, a newsletter regularly, and Hustle mentioned about you. They carried a section on the new crop of micro SaaS startups, and then they referred you. They referred Shoutout.so, and they said that Shoutout.so, when it was initially built, it was built on a no-code platform, and then I think eventually you moved and you had your own technical stack built on top. So was it true?
I don't know that they mentioned me or Shoutout. Like,
yeah, they did not mention you. They mentioned Shoutout. I can pass on the link. So you know about the Hustle newsletter, right?
Yeah, I know the Hustle, but I never know that they featured us in their newsletter.
Yeah, that's when I pinged you and I said, hey, I need to talk to this guy. So I can pass on the link to you later. Yeah. So that's how it happened. So where's the technical stack now? Is it still built on Bubble, or you have moved out?
No, we moved out. We once I started like generating more interest from the community, from the people, and most of them said, we are willing to pay for this if you build it end to end. So that sort of validation and the waitlist when I launched the landing page grew from 0 to 300 to 500 in a month or so. So there was so much of hype, and people were like eager to like use this. So that's when I found my technical co-founder, Curtis Cummings, who actually also works at OnDeck, by the way. And we both are doing this on site. We're passionate about solving this problem. So yeah, it's completely a fully coded application now. So yeah.
Got it. So let's double tap on this.
Before you go, I have to mention one important point. Yeah. So when you're getting started as a maker and you're looking for tools, especially from a no-code standpoint, I would not start with Bubble. So Bubble is an advanced tool. So start with something very simple and basic, like build a landing page using Card. Or use Softer or Pori.io. These are all Airtable-based website builders. So you can back your data on Airtable, and using front end from these tools, you can build simple applications. So start with curating information first. Like, let's say you are really good at, I don't know, like, pick you're a designer, and if you want to like start building things and feature like design centric startups, start curating like that. So it's like I said, it's an incremental thing. You just can't jump into the advanced thing and say, hey, I'm not getting the output I wanted, so I'm giving up. So start with Airtable. It's simple. Start with Card for landing page, and as you move along, you'll in the comfort zone of like testing out Webflow or then Bubble. So I would highly suggest that flow instead of you jumping directly into Bubble and getting disappointed because it has a learning curve.
Yeah, getting over actually, and then and then losing all that initial excitement away. So cool. So what you're saying is you don't need special skills to pick this. There are players, there are applications which are designed to match your comfort level and your proficiency level, so you can actually go slow and then ramp up. I want to come to shout out on how ideation, how did you see the problem and how did you solve it? But before that, since you mentioned about OnDeck, tell me a bit about your relationship with OnDeck. How were you associated with it? And this entire, I started hearing about OnDeck since the past 6-7 months. That's when they became hugely popular. So tell me a bit about your association with them.
Yeah, so OnDeck is this phenomenal community Well, a community of communities. So it's not just like one single community. And I think the whole idea behind OnDeck is if you just graduated from college, and if you wanted to become a designer,
Right.
there is a fellowship there. And if you're just starting something, and if you want to mingle with other founders, there is a fellowship there. And if you are looking for building ideas, bringing ideas to life, there is a
Right.
fellowship there. So if you want to invest, there is a fellowship there. If you want if you want to get into speaking, there's a fellowship, so on and so forth. So they have this tight knit ecosystem internally, where you graduate from fellowship and you can take on another fellowship and get proficient with it. So that's the whole idea of, like, it's sort of like Stanford on the internet. So
Yeah.
that's the simplest way of describing it. And I got to know, obviously, from Twitter, and I'm fortunate enough to actually be part of two fellowships as founding fellows. So I'm very I got to learn a lot from these two fellowships and get to interact with a lot of community there, a lot of
So
people.
what's the fellowship? What fellowship in this new age Stanford?
So fellowship is sort of like a cohort based course. No, I wouldn't say course. It's sort of like this cohort based structure where you will have like a closed community of people around like 100 to 150,
Okay.
and there is an 8 week structure, and
Okay.
there are like people who come for fireside chats, who answer your questions, and basically make you become better at a specific thing. If you're investing,
Right.
so they teach you about like what the gaps in angel investing, how do you overcome it, your fears of like losing money. Basically it's like an in-depth take on specific topics.
Right.
uh, so I was part of like two fellowships. One is no code fellowship, like was
Right.
mentioning, and performative speaking fellowship, where we get to learn how to speak
Right.
uh, in front of audience. Yeah.
And so what do you mean by founding fellowship? So you formed the cohort, is it?
No, founding fellows are the ones who got picked specifically by OnDeck. So they're not applicants. They pick us uh, just to, like, sort of help and lead the community. Uh,
Okay.
we're I wouldn't say experts, but we're sort of like, we dip our toes into these specific subjects.
Mm.
So we've already been familiar with some of the things.
Right.
So that's what they do.
So because of your familiarity with no code, you became the founder fellow for this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. Thank you. That was quite some learning there. Now let's come to a shout out, and I'm a PM as well. And this is PM to PM. I see a lot of gaps or challenges or problems around me, and as a PM you always see opportunities. So at any given point of time you cannot help but have a backlog of all the challenges and problems around our lives, right? um, but the real PM is somebody is not just noticing the problem, but is able to also get a solution, and then he might fail, but then one fine day something or the other works out.
Mhm.
So tell us your process of what gap did you see on social media or businesses, and how did you found this solution? Help us walk through your process.
So Shoutout was never intended to solve the problem it's solving right now. It was a very simple idea of mine, and like I said before, all my projects are my own problem. So I wanted to solve my own problem first, and
Right.
then evolves as the market decides.
Right.
So more than, I think, finding a problem from outside, and like I said, I wanted a platform where I can gather all my shoutouts under one place.
Right.
That's it. That was because, since I am I'm very active on Twitter, I get called by people a lot in a good way, thankfully. So
So shout out, just to explain what shout out is. Shout out is when somebody tags you and mentions favorably to you or something nice about you, right? That's how that is shout out. Okay.
yeah, that's like the definition 101 of Shoutout is like if you help someone, or if someone wants to like praise you in public,
Right.
they give you a shout out. So, and yeah, so a lot of people thankfully said so many kind things to me, and I wanted to like package it under one place. That's it.
Got
That's
it.
the whole idea. And but the beauty of uh, people discovering that problem and using in multiple use cases is that it evolves and goes beyond the problem you had in the beginning. So for Shoutout, we just like started identifying people that there are walls of love for these brands. And I thought, since there is a boom in creator economy, why can't creators have walls of love? So that's when I realized, social proof is essential, and nobody's actually tapping on it. Uh, Everybody's sleeping on it, at least 90%. So there are only few brands, few creators who actually harness the social proof they get on social media and convert them into possible, like, find their future customers based on the existing customers' trust. So that's the whole idea, and like I said, it evolved over time, and here we are, like solving this tedious problem of people finding shoutouts on Twitter and other social platforms and putting under one place. And there's so much manual labor that goes in. People are spending so many hours of time,
Right.
and maintaining these shoutouts, it's a tedious task. So
Right.
what we're solving is that we are making it very simple, and the output is very beautiful. So people can use these embeds wherever they want. Like, now that you're showing, if you scroll a little bit down, we have our own embed on the wall. So on our website. So
Okay. So your shout out for shout out on your website.
yeah,
Nice.
so it is basically the wall powered by Shoutout. So, and
Nice.
we are very fortunate. I'm very fortunate enough to onboard incredible creators like Julian Shapiro,
Yeah.
Jack Fisher. There are like so many prolific people who use Shoutout, and there are so many prolific brands who use Shoutout. So it's a very blessed place to be, honestly. So we have wide variety of users, creators, startups, and bigger brands. So that's the problem we're solving, and we have bigger plans for the rest of this year. And
Yeah, no doubt. I can imagine you might have your own roadmap, so to say. At what point, so when it was a pet project, you wanted to collate all your shoutouts at one place. But where did you want to put that together on your website, maybe, isn't it?
yeah, so I just the first thought was just have an individual page for myself. So
Right.
and just highlight these shoutouts I'm getting on Twitter. That's it.
Right.
And
And at what point you felt that this could be also offered to the rest of the world and monetized?
so when I launched the landing page, when I saw the signups on the wait list, and people started like throwing like, this is what we actually want. As founder, I want something like this. So
what did your landing page show for them to catch their curiosity?
it showed like four things. I think I've been vocal about this very, pretty much like all the time. All landing pages, not just for Shoutout. Like, I truly believe there should be a hook.
Mm-hmm.
There should be, why should people care about this product?
Yeah, the value proposition.
And how it works. Like, what is the flow? What are they getting
Right.
out of it? And number 5, again, social proof. Like, who else is believing in this product?
Right.
So early on, I got like people like Jack Butcher, Julian Shapiro, Chris Messina. These folks, they just like, gave me a stamp saying we need this problem, go solve it. So, and there is so much validation from the community, there is so much validation from people, and especially Julian Shapiro, he said like, I would love to pay if you just build and give it to me as an embed. So most of Shoutout is from people like, we want this, we're willing to pay for this. So we
Nice.
evolved over time by learning from what they want and building what they want. So
Lovely. Lovely. Yeah. So for all the listeners who are listening to this, this might look like, you know what, Sharath was lucky. He just on a fine day, he woke up with this brilliant idea and then he built it. But only Sharath would know that such ideas don't come out of a blue moon. It comes out of a lot of failed ideas and ideas that did not take off. And only when you, am I right? First of all, Sharath, can you
yeah,
just validate what I'm saying?
yeah. So you just have to build a lot of stuff. I wouldn't tag uh, to outcomes. I would tag to the effort. Like how much are you willing to put, and how much patience you have to basically get to a point that this can be the next big thing for yourself. So, and I truly always believe that, even today, I believe the next big thing is not yet there. So my next big thing is still there. I have to, identify it. So Sharded is not just like the big thing. So you have to keep on looking for opportunities, get yourself involved with the
Right.
community, and they will let you know. They'll say yes, we need this, and the market decides. You and I, we are like, purely messengers. the,
Exactly. The market decides.
it's the
Exactly.
market that uh, decides the whole thing. So they might take you down or they might lift you up. So uh, I think, yeah, I've shipped like what, 12 plus projects, like I said, and I never monetized anything before,
Mhm.
and this is the first time I did, and like, we are very grateful. We're right now, we're at like $1,300
Awesome.
MRR with 70 plus paying customers. So super grateful, and but yeah, it's not like an overnight thing.
Yeah. So
And
is it a subscription model or how is it like
yeah,
people?
it's a monthly subscription model. We have annual plans as well. We have a couple of plans,
So,
pro and premium.
so what is the regular value? I understand that there are shout outs that gets embedded, and then if they're paying a subscription, what do they get regularly out of it? Is it updates or updated shout outs or how is it?
So every time you get mentioned, we have this curated mentions where we believe that is a good social proof for you,
Correct.
and you don't have to do the dirty work, like finding them and manually like embedding them each and every time. So
Right.
once you embed a shout out wall onto
Right.
your website,
Right.
you are done for life. Now all you need to do is spend time internally in Shoutout to actually pick and select the ones you wanted to feature or highlight in your website.
Got it.
And the embed, once you sort of like publish the
Right.
wall on Shoutout, it reflects automatically on your website. So you don't have to do back and forth work, and it works seamlessly. Number one. Number two, it is beautifully designed. Number three is it is super fast. So it loads super fast, so it won't slow down your website.
Right.
Usually that's one of the problems.
Right.
Twitter embeds slow down your website, and you have to manually embed each one of the tweet
Got it.
per se. For us, it's actually a wall. So
Mhm.
you can now, uh, that's just for Twitter, but what if you wanted to like combine multiple social channels? Like you have LinkedIn shoutouts, you got a shout out from Facebook, and you got a shout out from Product Hunt Launch.
Ah, right. Yeah.
So we are gathering all social media channels under one place so that you don't have to embed one by one
Got it.
and spend a lot of time. So that's the selling point for us, and people are taking advantage of it.
Right. So, Sharath, at what point of time you felt you would need a technical co-founder? At what point did you decide that, you know what, a landing page is good, I'm getting validation, but now it needs a neater stuff, and I need help? At what
Yeah.
point?
So when I built the MVP and I actually gave it to a bunch of friends, and I showed to people like Julian Shapiro, this is how it looks, this is how it works. These folks, they said, like, that was like even a manual thing I'm asking to do. So I built a friction full experience, not a frictionless experience. So
Frictionful.
like any MVP, it's so much
Right.
friction. So
Which is perfectly fine, right? I mean,
yeah, it should be scrappy like that, or else you will waste a shit ton of time.
right. Yeah.
So that's when they all said, "This is all good. Can you make it automatic? Can you make it from a performance standpoint even better?
Right.
And more importantly, can you give us an embed where we can use it on our websites?"
Right.
So that to me is a pivotal point of finding my co-founder, and it changed. And since then, I think it's starting November. We started building Shoutout fully native with the code.
So where did you pick your co-founder from?
Uh,
Curtis, right?
around Curtis, yeah, around October-ish, November last year.
No, no. I mean, where did you know Curtis from before? How did you
Oh,
approach?
where?
Yeah.
I never met Curtis, by the way. I
Okay.
never met him. I just got to know from Twitter. So that's one of the things, every sale we ever made, every customer, every marketing, and even my co-founder, everything, customers, waiting list, people on wait list, everything happened because of Twitter. So highly encourage people to like use Twitter as a distribution channel, and use Twitter for like your broadcasting channel, distribution channel, and way you build in public. That's another thing I did since day one, even hell since day one, like day zero, even before the idea was not there.
Right.
I built Sharded in public. So I found Curtis by putting a thread on Twitter saying that I'm looking for a co-founder,
Ah, nice.
and I got like 16 people approaching me that they're interested. So I spent time with them one on one, understand like what they're actually expecting, and where they are in terms of solving this problem. So I felt Curtis is the right person, and we both had some chemistry while we were talking. So yeah, here we are.
So you did a lot of groundwork before this, right? So you had some influence on Twitter. People admired you on Twitter. There are followers. Tell us about that. So when did you take Twitter seriously, and what are we losing if we are not serious about Twitter? Tell us some benefits and advantages of Twitter. All the people who have not yet taken Twitter seriously.
uh, I can talk about that for hours, and
Briefly.
everything what I did so far is 70 to 80% is because of Twitter.
Mm.
So I'm working at Product Hunt because I saw an opportunity, on Twitter. Found my co-founder on Twitter. I shipped so many projects and built an audience for myself on Twitter. I worked with Gagan Biani recently.
Who's Gagan Bihari?
He's the founder of Udemy, and he's right now working on this amazing phenomenal
Cohort-based
product
program. Yes.
Maven.com. So
Maven.
I helped build Maven.com landing page. So that connection happened because of Twitter.
Nice.
So the reasons you have to use Twitter is multiple. In short, you have to, if you're looking for long-term relationships with prolific people, you have to be active on Twitter. If you want to grab some opportunities for yourself,
Right.
use Twitter. And if you want to build an audience, use Twitter. So uh, yeah, I think if you're not using Twitter, I feel like you're losing a lot. So
Got it.
honestly, that's my opinion.
So I was under the assumption that, oh, you are building something cool, shout out, and that's how you got followers. But no, the hard work was much before. So was it because um, of your presence, regular presence on Twitter? That's why you had followers, or what were your secrets of growing a followership?
I think more than anything, you have to be service minded, and you have to provide insane amount of value for people, or else nobody's going to follow you. So I started my Twitter journey around 2018, and I was actually very serious about taking a maker identity.
Mm.
So that is when I had like what I think 200 or 150 followers back then,
Mhm.
and I started like caring about people, and I started like putting out content creation consistently,
Right.
which provides value for them, and be very kind to people. So there are
Mm.
like so many things you can do. Like if you can invest in people just by believing in them. So and sharing their work in social. So you have this social capital and belief capital within you, and I've been investing that since like 3 years on many people, many folks. So and vice versa, they actually invested in me as well. So it's not
Mm.
something; it's a one-way channel. So and yeah, I think create content consistently, pick a specific topic
Right.
and champion it, and uh, you know be very consistent about that one topic every single day. Show up. Uh,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
that's how you create an audience over time. So write threads, comment on other people's posts,
Right.
share your 2 cents. If you have feedback, share it. If you think they can be better at something, share it.
Mm.
Do a lot of community activities, like collaborate with others,
Right.
and create content. So I mean, there are like so many things you can do on Twitter.
So,
uh,
so outside of creating content, say writing motivational quotes, which I, for some reason, I do not know. There are, of course, there are some who seem authentic, but there are some who do a lot of cut copy paste jobs. How do you genuinely create a solid network of influential people on Twitter? For that, just writing quotes would not work, right? Like, for example, you people know that you are building cool products, cool projects. So I think along with sharing content, quotes, you should also be doing something cool, isn't it? Am I wrong in my observation?
First thing I don't understand. So creating content is not quoting someone. So that's not creating content at all. That's like
Yes.
creating content is narrating your story. Creating content is whatever you're going through, whatever you discovered in your journey, putting it out, the lessons you learned, or you found a new tool, put it out, and you use the tool and you got benefit out of it, put it out. You found a mental model, put it out, or you found this habit which helped you, put it out. So everything that is so personal to you, I think, to answer your question, the way you have to differentiate people who are stealing other people's content
Right.
versus people who are creating content is by authenticity.
Mm, that's a good one.
You basically can sense authenticity, because if you are not authentic, you give
Right.
up. You won't be like doing for it for a long time. Uh, and pick something you're very good at. Like it should feel like play to you. That's what Nawal says. I'm not reinventing anything. I'm just quoting people like Nawal here.
Right.
Find something which you really love and you're passionate about, and do that. Once you do that, you're doing it for yourself. In a way, you're not doing it for others, so you'll play long because you enjoy doing it, right? So
Yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun, and it should feel like family. It should feel like a community.
it should feel
It's,
like, yeah, it should feel like you can do this forever and ever.
hmm,
So pick that, and then that's why I said, if you're good at building products, do it. If you're good at writing, write. If you're good at creating NFTs, do it. If you're good at like podcasting, do it. So audio, do it. Like videos, do it. So whatever that feels uh, play to you, that's where you can create like infinite content. Like you won't even imagine. Like the ideas will pop in every single day. And
that's
while you create this content, like you share the lessons, like, okay, this is what I learned, these are the highs and these are the lows I'm sharing. So
yeah. I'm massively influenced by Arvid Kahl, especially the way he shows up. He's so humble. He's reachable. He likes and comments to every comment that you add to his comment. So he's like so much accessible. I'm getting him on my podcast for the second time, uh,
oh,
for
thanks.
for his second book. I interviewed him for his first book. Also on embeddedentrepreneur.com, on his book landing page, has he used your shout
Yeah.
out ah, nice.
Arvind is a early believer in us. So
I see.
yeah, he helped us figure out the pricing model, and
Nice.
gave us like some advice on the product as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, he's a champion user of Shoutout.
And he's an idol to follow on the right Twitter behavior and how to show up on
Yep.
Twitter. So excellent. You tweeted this morning and you said next 10 years, individuals, institutions. What do you mean by that?
So it is, yeah, I think what I meant by that tweet is for the next 10 years, it's creators who are going to rule, or who are going to take over, or institutions. So you're no more uh, tied to organizations. You are empowered to create things on your own. So if you're a writer, you start writing books like Arvid Kahl. Arvid Kahl is a creator by himself.
Mm.
So that's what I meant. It's that order. It's going to change.
Right.
Previously, it's all about like organizations, people employing people, and all that. So going forward, it is creators who take that market and decide whenever they want to work, they work. They just want to like don't work, they don't work. So the control it's going to be decentralized, and it's on them what they have to do, in future, and they have the complete control. So that's what I meant when I put down that tweet.
That was a thought provoking one. So you and most of your tweets are thought provoking. I was just curious to know what is your information diet? What are the sources that you take information from that is shaping you? Are you being mindful of what you consume, or you? So just share a few things about that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very mindful about the information I consume. I primarily follow a lot of prolific people, and most of my tweets are my reactions to them. So if
Mhm.
I'm reacting publicly, if I see a tweet from Nawal, or if I read a book, I'm reflecting myself publicly what I am consuming. So everything that I put it out, I use Twitter as my journal, like my daily journal. Literally, I have this thought that pop in. I just read it out. No second thoughts whatsoever. So, but I do care about one thing: is it providing value for others or not? If it is not providing any value, the thought is like a piece of shit. So you just ignore it.
So you have an internal filter for that, is it?
Yeah. So I found this uh, yes or no pattern of thoughts. Is it valuable? Is it going to help others in any way?
Right.
Is it informational? Is it, like you said, thought provoking?
Right.
Is it going to ignite someone else's mind,
Yeah.
and thoughts in someone else's mind? So use that filter immediately, and like switch it up and just tweet. No, I've made like many mistakes, and nobody actually remembers those because they see the content around it, like the meaning or uh, the internal depth into that thought,
Right.
rather than semantics or details.
Right. But so this is the output. This is how you share. What do you consume? So like, are you an avid reader? Or
Yeah, like I said, right, I do follow prolific people like Paul Graham, Naval, Sam Altman, Ryan Hoover.
Right.
Like there are so many. Jack Butcher is one of them, like creators. Uh, so obviously, I consume them, the
Right.
content they provide, they create, and I read books as well. So yeah, mostly Twitter. Twitter is my consumption, and I carefully curate my feed
Got it.
so that I don't be get. Yeah, there is another side of Twitter which I don't want to go at all. So don't touch like politics
Got
and
it.
all that. So that's why I keep myself far from it.
Yeah, there is this big community, which is a very healthy community that I have seen. Unlike, say, Facebook, which my feed gets filled with politics and racism and a lot of negative content. But Twitter also has that side, but maybe I have surrounded myself with these creators, makers,
Mhm.
these people who are just helping each other, very positive, and that's why I love it. And maybe because this is how I have designed it, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it's. I think even you can use any social platform. It's under your control, like what you consume. It's a
what you consume.
choice.
Yeah.
It's end of the day, it's like your choice what you wanted to like consume. So if you sign up for some political channels, obviously you're going to get those things. I'm just not saying like nothing judgmental here. It's up to you. What is that something you want?
Right.
If you want to get into tech, go follow tech people. If you want to get into founder community, go obviously do founder, surround yourself with people. So you are what you're surrounded yourself with, like the five people. There's a
The
few of
average,
you.
the
Yeah,
average of people. Yeah.
famous quote.
Yeah. So, but sometimes I follow very different people who have. I don't want to become like them, but hey, it just makes my feed colorful as long as they're positive. So I follow a lot of people, from entrepreneurs to makers to sometimes
Right.
actors and all sorts of writers and authors and stuff like that. Cool. I have a couple of last questions to end this. I'm being mindful of your time as well, Sharath.
Yeah.
One topic that I wanted to ask you was community-led startups, and this is like last year it was product-led growth, and now the buzzword this year has been community-led growth, community-led products and stuff like that. Do you want to shed some light there on what does community-led startups mean?
Yeah. So community-led startups are fundamentally built uh, on communities, right? So these are all people. They talk to each other while giving value to each other at the same time, using your product or your cohort or your course or whatever it is. So there is this phenomenon that I think it's always there. It's not something new. Again, it's no code is not something new. It's been there for ages. Like WordPress is actually a
Mhm.
no code. If you think about it, like Squarespace is a no code
Right.
uh, tool. It's just that people shifted their focus on how do we actually go either no code or community. Community is like this new trending thing. So yeah, I think founders are turning their heads towards building communities because there is very less marketing you have to do, because
Right.
once you have the community, you have this solid empire of people who champion on your behalf. So
Right.
that's why it's very important to like build in public when
Right.
it comes to community building.
Right.
So yeah, it's a major shift, and there are like tools that are popping in, and the future is obviously it's going to bring people together. At the end of the day, I think without community there is no product. I think I've said this very vocally, very so many times.
Right.
Without community, you're just like performing in front of like an empty auditorium. So that's that's why community first, community minded founders are taking shape and
Do you
leading.
have examples
Yeah, I
of?
mean, the product hunt is community led, startup.
But
OnDeck is one.
did Product Hunt form the community first or the product first?
It is both in a
Mm.
way, because community, when Ryan obviously put the first MVP outside, everybody saw interest in it. That's exactly the story of Shoutout as well. Like when you put your product out,
Right.
it surrounds with people that I want this. So
Mm.
there's a community angle there. You just have to pay attention to it. So, and one of the things people should do is, uh, once you identify these folks, include them in the conversations, as you grow, and
So
make them talk to each other. So you have to find
whom,
ways.
which folks are you talking about?
So let's say if you put a product out, there are like folks who are really interested in your product.
Like the landing page and everybody who signed up, the initial early adopters, isn't it?
Early adopters, yeah, early believers, early adopters. These are
Yeah.
the folks who are genuinely interested in you. So you have to be very careful. Take initiatives in a way that serves them first.
Right.
That's exactly how Tesla, was here where it is right now. Elon took care of the early believers who actually ordered the first Teslas,
Pre-ordered. Yes. Yeah.
and he particularly served them
Mhm.
and incentivize them. So
Right.
you have to incentivize them. You have to find ways where they can talk to each other. So that's how communities can be scalable.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's definitely, it's a good sign for sure, uh, when it comes to community.
Right.
Community led startups are this, you know new age strategy.
Got it. Got it. Excellent. You manage a lot of projects. You have an active social media presence. You have a full time job, and other engagements. I'm sure people also demand your time, just like I did. I pulled you in, and thank you, thank you for being generous with your time with me.
No.
How do you manage so many things and not stay distracted, because social media can make you distracted, right? How do you maintain focus and prioritize and still get things done and still being active and available to everybody?
uh, I really love what I do. That's one answer for it. I think I don't get tired of what I'm doing. So I really treat this as play, and I really care about people. So I just wanted to talk to you because you showed real interest in putting my story out, and that's a good thing for me. And I'm here to provide value for the listeners. So I really care about the community, uh, and yeah, I'm very mindful about certain things. Like I know I do have like certain habits that keep me sane, uh, like meditation. I write gratitude journaling every morning, uh, and so on and so forth. So it's a combination of everything, and like I said, it's an incremental process. I am actually a work in progress. I am not like something, that came out overnight.
Finished product.
Yeah, there's never a finished product. Like you're a work in progress all the time, and I'm still working in progress. Like I'm still figuring out a lot of things, like many other people. So, but yeah, short answer: I love what I do. Like genuinely care about what I do, and care about the community. So
Excellent. So, since you mentioned you're a work in progress, how do you make your a life plan? Is it as things happen, or do you actually are taking the driver's seat and navigating through your life? Like, do you have a clear picture on where you will be in the next 2 to 3 years, and you are actually shaping it according to that vision? Or how do you plan? Do you set annual goals and stuff like that?
yeah, I don't set annual goals, but I do have, uh, macro goals, macro dreams, I would call, not goals, but dreams. Like, and I sort of like have them in mind, back of the mind, and start executing very micro. So if I have like a 5-year-old goal, what can I do like today, like 1% towards that dream? So, and I keep reminding myself those are the things I need to pursue so that I won't get distracted, because it's, everything is enticing when you're becoming public. So, uh, yeah, keep myself surrounded with people who have similar dreams, and getting in touch with them frequently, so that oh, this is where I'm going, this is what I want to do next, and so on and so forth. So I do things with very very much, everything with an intention. So, uh, yeah, definitely I have macro dreams, but execute things in micro.
Excellent. Well, this brings us to the end of a fascinating conversation with Sharath. Sharath, I must tell you, this must be one of my favorite episodes, and you might have observed already. I was so curious and asking you a lot of questions because uh, so your reputation precedes you. So you stood by what you are known for, adding value, and you added massive value. It was a no holds barred interview. You shared every aspect of everything that you know. Not everybody is open and generous enough to share the secrets and the behind the scenes stories, but you shared that tells a lot about you. I cannot thank you enough for your time, Sharath, and I am very very curious to see how what are the upcoming projects in your life, and eager to follow you and see where you head.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, bringing me on this podcast. Loved the whole conversation, and I really hope, my goal is to, again, this might be helpful for the listeners as well. The goal for me every time I do something, things like this, is to create an impact on one single person. That's it. Like, not not more, not less. If we have more, I'm the happiest in the world. That was my goal, and I hope one listener can either get inspired or took action after listening to this. So, I'm grateful for like coming here, talking to you.
And so Sharath is quite popular on Twitter. Am I right, Sharath? I'm just displaying your Twitter handle on screen. Is this how it is? Excellent. So
Yeah.
if so, all you folks who haven't followed Sharath yet, go and follow him. You will be you will not you will be definitely, it will be a lot of value for you just to follow him. And he, as I said, he is what he is, and he lives by it on Twitter as well. With that, Sharath, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Ravi. Thanks for having me. Yeah.